As a German who lives in the UK, what do you make of Brexit? What do Germans feel about Brexit?
Well, first of all, the reason I've chosen London to be my home is because it's my favorite city in the world. Now, that was a few years ago. Things have changed. I still never knew why there was a referendum in the first place. Economically, Britain was doing well, 2 or 3 years ago. So, we all was trying to live together. So as a foreigner, I don't know if there's, obviously the Brexit is happening sooner or later, what that changes for foreigners. Do I need a visa in the future come in? What effects it has for my children? And so there are a lot of question marks, and it's a nervous time.
Have you felt that attitudes towards other citizens of the EU have changed here? I mean, have you personally experienced anything different?
I remember the morning after the vote 2.5 years ago that I drove into the city. It was eerie, it was quiet, and nobody really know what to do with it. And that really hasn't changed because we were in such a limbo of what that actually happens to foreigners living in the UK.
But you haven't personally experienced any animosity, for instance?
I didn't, no. No.
So we can carry on just getting on, being together, and hopefully you'll still be able to travel freely.
Well, that's the big question. Obviously, I'm living in London. I don't know the sentiment in the rest of the UK towards foreigners. And I know there's this thing called good foreigners and bad foreigners. I hate that. I hate that label. You're either foreigner or you're not. But just wanted to see what the effects it has on my status.
Do you think, are there many Germans from your experience who actually would like to see a similar thing happen in Germany, that they actually think the European Union is a rather anachronistic organisation? They'd rather go out on their own again?
Well, the whole thing started because of an immigration problem 2 or 3 years ago, and then obviously Germany took the most of the immigrants, and most of the time it was good, but obviously they have to obey the rule like any citizen in that country. And I think there was a sentiment of a problem with foreigners as such, and I'm very sensitive to that because I'm my mother's Czech. I'm only in a way half German, and I was calling Germany for most of my life home. So coming into the UK and having the referendum, then I thought, why you want to change something that's not broken?
Let me ask you about another story that's been in the news recently that involved Martina Navratilova. And she came out with quite a strident column that she wrote and doubled down on it, actually, about this issue of transgender athletes now, particularly transgender women who were born to biological male bodies now competing in women's sport. And she said it gives them an unfair physical advantage. What did you make of that debate? Well,
I've read her piece, and I was a little bit saddened about the actual athlete, because that happened many years ago. So something, she was born with it. Those were the rules then. Why you attack an athlete, years after her performance about something she was born with?
But she's talking now more generally about all transgender women who've transgendered from male biological bodies, that most of them would have an inherent physical advantage because of being born to male bodies. Do you agree with that? Do you think they do?
Well, in the times of equality, why we bother with this?
Because it's unequal. Her argument is it's unequal.
Yeah, how
actually, if you're 6'5" male, born to a male body, 6'5" and powerfully built, it's obviously, many would argue, unfair to then put yourself, having transgendered, into women's sport where you're playing a lot of women who are physically much smaller than you.
Well, but when do you start the testing then? You start it when the child is born, when they're 5, when they're 10. When the rule sets in that a transgender person cannot compete in sports. And I think,
so you don't agree with Martina?
I don't agree with Martina.
Really?
It's interesting because it doesn't generally... It's often a problem for women in women's sport because it's about women who were born male bodies. It doesn't probably affect men in male tennis. Because you wouldn't have the same challenge. You wouldn't have a woman... You might have a woman who changes to become a man, but they wouldn't compete in the same physical way as the men at that top level.
I understand obviously the point. In these Me Too days, it's very sensitive to talk about it, I find. It's just, those are the rules. If you want to change the rules, where do you start with them?
Actually, I have a lot of sympathy for transgender athletes in all this. I don't think it's their fault at all.
That's my point.
I think there has to be a dialogue about this, and there has to be a real coming together and working out what is fair. What you don't want is for women to be disadvantaged by this.
No, I get the point. I get this. It's just that when do you start making the decisions? So a 5-year-old who's born transgender can't compete in sports, for example. I would be against it because as a 5-year-old, you don't know what you're going to do. So
let me ask you, on tennis, Andy Murray has just had a big hip replacement operation, obviously.
The injury happened when he was #1. I mean, it's the worst thing they could possibly do. Now, I like Andy. I'm friends with him. So I suggest find a way to play one more time Wimbledon. Obviously, hip permitted. You don't want to play and you can't move. But if there's a way you can go out on your own terms, I think for the rest of your career, life, it's positive.
I want to show you a little clip. This is when Martina came on this programme and I challenged her to table tennis. This is what happened.
Come on, Martina.
Yes, 2-all.
I was unbiased,
Deciding point.
wasn't I? Ball boy.
Deciding point. 2-all.
God.
Oh!
Yes!
Damn it!
You
took
are
it well.
such
did
a
take that
sore
I took it well.
loser.
Now, that's, Martina Navratilova, she got lucky with a smash. You and me, Boris, on that table right now. Come on.
Let's go. All right.
Come on.
Yeah.
Maintain the tradition,
Yeah.
please, Boris.
Don't let the side
The
down.
tradition means the guest has to win or
Yeah.
Piers. So,
Yeah.
Every
You-
Wimbledon
you have to
champion has
beat
beaten me
Piers.
at table tennis.
Okay, let's
So far.
do a little warm up.
Little warm-up.
So I haven't done sport that early in a long
I'm
time.
feeling quite confident, actually.
Yeah, Piers is pretty
you
well
have
warmed
you
up
have those
already,
funny
isn't he?
spins, or you play reasonably well.
I can hold my own.
Okay, here we go. What about the forehand? Oh,
Okay, let's go then. Right, best of 5.
Oh, no! Does it have to go on that long?
Yeah.
Come on, Boris, just smash it.
oh!
1-0.
1-0 for Germany. What was that? Net?
Net.
Net.
2-0.
2-0 to
serve.
Germany. Brilliant.
No.
3-0 to
Tennis,
Germany.
we
You
have,
won 3-0.
we have 2 serves in tennis. We have
Oh, you
2
do?
serves in tennis.
Give me my bat back.
Oh, my goodness. Just keep going over
I'm
and
done,
over
done.
it
It's
until
done.
you
You've
get
beaten
the
me, Boris.
right result.
Thank you very
You've
much.
restored no faith in my table tennis whatsoever. Well played, mate.
Thank you.
That went terribly badly.
What do you want, a second referendum on
I
that?
think I'd like to play it again tomorrow and just pretend it didn't happen, rather like Brexit. Boris, great to see you.
Thank you,
And we've
Fletcher.
read a lot about your life. How are things at the moment?
It's calming down on all
Good.
levels.
We need your life to be calm.
Yes.
Yeah, we all need our
great to
lives
see
to
you.
be
Thank you
calmer.
very much.
A lot of Brits have a lot of affection for you, Boris. You've been a tremendous Wimbledon champion for so many years. So it's lovely to see you this morning.